Thanks for tuning in to the 6-3 podcast. I'm your host, Joel, my co-host, Ben, and we are on to our annual position rankings. Again, last year we were quite accurate. There's a couple teams that were a little like the Rams. Rams were a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
We were a little off on them, but other than that, there were not huge disparities between our rankings and where they finished in the season. So it's kind of fun to go through these and see how accurate it predicts the rest of the season. Obviously, you can never assume injuries, cuts, trades, etc. But Ben, you'll get the first pick this year, and I'm pretty sure probably the same number one as we've had, I think, the last two seasons. So
Yeah,
what do you think?
I'm gonna pick the Chiefs actually here.
Okay. Yep.
Mahomes, clear cut number one. I mean, he proved himself again last year, so I don't really think he can go a different direction there. But I mean, I don't hate Blaine Gabbert. He's been in the league a long time as well. Proven solid enough backup. Yeah, I feel like he just never plays even when he's a backup. And then Shane Buechele is interesting. Had some good moments at SMU. He was at Texas actually for a little bit too.
So I mean, this will be his third year probably on the
Yeah,
roster in
he's
some capacity, whether it's practice squad or not.
yeah, he's kind of formed himself a little niche there. So um, I think they're I think Mahomes is kind of clear cut above the rest. Even I know Josh Allen was pushing him for a little bit there 2 years ago, I'd say maybe 3 years ago. Everybody's like, oh, he's it, he's it. He might even over surpass him, but last year he just didn't do that at all. So yeah, Mahomes and the Chiefs number one.
Yeah, it's a good
Really
one.
thought about moving him down though, because Henny's not there anymore.
Anything is possible, except now that he's gone.
Exactly.
Number two, I'm going to go with a guy that a lot of Chiefs fans think has their number, and that's Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
So Joe Burrow will be my number two here. They picked up Trevor Siemian as a backup, which is actually, I think, an improvement over Brandon Allen was their backup for several years.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then Jake Browning stays as their third after a couple year or two with the Vikings as a third string quarterback. So, yeah.
Yep. Um, oh, I kind of went back and forth on three. Um, but I'm actually going to go with the Eagles here at three. Jalen Hurts he's been awesome. And, at MVP level caliber, I guess, play last year. Took his team to the Super Bowl. I think he's actually going to get better as well. Mostly because the team around him is still going to be really good. Marcus Mariota as a backup is not a bad backup at all. Arguably one of the better ones. If you're going to have him as a backup, as a starter, I wouldn't put him up there, but as a backup, I would. And then Ian Book and Tanner McKee are interesting. McKee obviously being a rookie, see where that goes. Ian Book, I've never really liked Ian Book, I'll be honest, but I was actually kind of surprised he was
He did okay to start with the Saints.
he did okay, right? So he does have some experience too. So if you got a third guy with
And Tanner
experience,
McKee 2 months ago was probably the fifth best quarterback by a
right?
lot of experts' accounts in the draft, and
Exactly. So I do
surpassed them.
like their room overall.
Yeah,
And I like Jalen Hurts. I think he's a star. So
yeah, it's a good one. I'm gonna go with the Bills with Josh Allen,
yeah,
Kyle Allen, and Matt Barkley. It would have been really great if they would have had like Austin Allen. Whatever.
yeah,
Remember Austin Allen? Just have all Allens in that quarterback room.
yeah.
But yeah, Kyle Allen's been, I think, in the league now 8 years,
Yeah,
and
he's
he's been
stuck
a
around.
serviceable
Figured it
backup.
out.
And Matt Barkley been in the league for like 16, so a lot of experience right behind Josh Allen. And Josh Allen seems like he's only getting better as well. So
Yeah, I mean Matt Barkley's been in the league that long. I remember when Matt Barkley was like in high school. He was the number one guy.
was
Just
he 2010? I mean, that's off the top of my head. I'm trying to think what Matt Barkley. Let me pull on. May have been
nine.
20.
I bet he was
Well,
2009.
oh, 2013.
13 is
Yeah.
when his draft was.
Yeah. What I mean, so but he's 30. He'll be 33 by the time the season starts. So
Yeah, yeah. He's had some moments. He had some okay games with the Eagles back in the day, so I remember that. So
yeah.
for sure. Um, I'm gonna go with Justin Herbert and the Chargers on this one.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Justin Herbert, Easton Stick. I've always liked Easton Stick. I've always thought he could actually be better than he doesn't. He hasn't played very much at all, but I've always kind of liked him. Watching him in the preseason, he's always been pretty good. And then Max Duggan is
Mm.
kind of a wild card there. He might fit that offense really well. So I wouldn't be surprised, if they kind of like him. He's kind of a wild card. Not
Is he
really.
tight end by week 9?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really not expecting. He's like just a slightly better thrower than Tim Tebow.
Hmm.
So, and very similar athleticism. Big
Yeah.
guy, runs pretty well. You know, physical, but
Strong, works hard. Yeah.
strong, right? So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate the room, and Justin Herbert's a budding star, if not really a star already. I would say he's already at star status. So, one of the more physically talented QBs in the league. So
Yeah. I mean, everything for the most part has been, the only one I had flipped was Hurts and Allen. I flipped, but everything else,
yeah,
top 5 is
and those
exactly.
were where I was back and forth. I'm like, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I just kind of went with who had a little bit better year last
And who
year.
went to the Super Bowl, right? That helps.
That's exactly
That's
how I
usually
did. So
who did I have at 6 then? I do have Aaron Rodgers and the Jets at 6. Hard to say Rodgers has fallen that far. I feel like at the lowest, he's
yeah,
probably 8th at the lowest. Zach Wilson, is he still good? Like that's a pretty good backup if he's actually hits his potential, right?
well, if
And
he
then Aaron Rodgers
wants to
gets
be
his
a
former,
backup,
and then the backup to the backup, Aaron Rodgers gets his former backup, Tim Boyle,
he does.
um, TB12, the Wish version of TB12,
Yep.
and then Chris Strevler, who is
Yeah.
a former CFL star. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is definitely up to that quarterback room from where we ranked them last year.
Yeah. I mean, they were. I don't remember where we ranked them last year, but it wasn't very far from the
Was it?
bottom.
I think it was
Um,
bottom 6 for sure.
yeah. Um, okay. I don't hate that. I'm gonna go with the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. You got two Pro Bowl QBs on that roster, so um, can't. I
That's
mean,
that's fair.
they had an argument for number one. If being honest, I mean, if you look
If
at
you go
that
by
one,
that, yeah, it's
you only go by
depth.
that. But I think a healthy Lamar Jackson um, changes that team, obviously. So, and he's still dynamic. He's still going to be dominant in most of his games, I would say.
Where did he get
We'll
paid? And he's
see.
going to go Albert Hainsworth on the Ravens.
Maybe he might, but we'll see. Maybe they get him a little more wide receiver help. We'll see what happens here. So, um, Tyler Huntley, obviously, I think he's not a Pro Bowl quarterback, but he is a satisfactory backup. I think he's one of the better backups because he does fit that offense. Anthony Brown is also a scheme fit, and then Nolan Henderson. Um, you know, they definitely fall off without Lamar Jackson, but I think Tyler Huntley can get some stuff done as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson, dynamic from a dynamic playmaker standpoint, is probably he might be number one on this list.
Hmm.
But let's see if he can stay healthy. When the injuries start to creep up on running quarterbacks, that's when you start to worry. But we'll see what happens. So
Yeah. I had him. I'm an 8, so I'm just going to flip flop this one too. I did move Trevor Lawrence and the
yeah,
Jaguars up here.
yeah,
Trevor Lawrence only getting better. Doug Peterson has definitely been a godsend for him after Urban Meyer fiasco.
yeah,
So, and then with the experience behind him with CJ Beathard, that helps. Nathan Rourke is probably one of the out of all the quarterbacks I typed out, I'd probably rank him towards the last 5
yeah,
quarterbacks out of all of them I typed out. But I just think Trevor Lawrence is hitting his stride. A lot of people viewed him as the most surefire quarterback out of college, other than Andrew Luck, and
yeah,
I think he's starting to find that mark as
yeah.
a unanimous top 10 quarterback in the league.
Yeah, it took him a little while, and he
Yeah,
had
it doesn't help when you have Urban Meyer, but
Urban Meyer first. That was bad. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys here with Dak. Um, Cooper Rush is also proven he's pretty good as a backup, and then Will Greer in their QB room as well. Healthy Dak played really well at the end of the year last year. They obviously didn't make it to the NFC Championship. Dak's kind of a enigma to me a little bit. He's just I don't really like Dak. I'll be honest. I don't like the Cowboys, but I don't really like Dak. But he's still talented. He puts up big numbers. You just got to stay healthy. And if you can do that, Mike McCarthy's taken over play calling for him this year. So we'll see how that goes for him. He's obviously been very successful in his coaching career at that.
Mhm.
See what happens here, and they've got a lot of weapons, so it should be another big year for Dak.
Yeah, I had Dak at 11, kind of just for the reason you said he's just an enigma. You never know
Just
what
like
Dak is gonna.
I don't think he's actually that good. I mean, I think he is good, but I think some people have him as like a top 5 QB when healthy, and I'm like,
It's, a lot of
he's
people are
not that.
Cowboys, or so. I
I
mean,
know.
it's just
I'm
like
just like he's not that, guys. He's not to that point. Like,
no.
I mean, he's good, but he's not that good.
I mean, I think the fall off is pretty much after Trevor Lawrence, though. I think there's a teardrop a little bit after him.
Yep.
So I think that's fair to say that maybe Dak is somewhere in that leadoff area of the next tier. But
Yep.
right before him, I actually had Jared Goff for
I
the
had Goff
Lions.
next. So yeah.
So, and then I think, drafting Hendon Hooker helps. You don't obviously know exactly what you're going to get out of a rookie who had an ACL tear, but
Sure.
just seems like old, reliable. And yes, old. That's Hendon Hooker up there with Stetson Bennett. But yeah, then after that, Nate Sudfeld has 7+ years of experience, I think, in the league. And then
Yep.
Adrian Martinez was a nice undrafted free agent signing too. So,
Yeah, I mean, not bad. I like the Lions QB room a lot, especially now.
Jared
How
Goff with weapons is different than a Jared Goff with no offensive line and no running game. Like Jared Goff with none of that is probably
yeah,
somewhere around the 24 mark. So
correct. I'm gonna go with the Vikings and Kirk Cousins next here. Kirk Cousins is
he was
another
my
kind of
next.
Dak-ish guy.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't really, is he really that good? I don't know. He's got a lot of weapons though. So he's gonna put up numbers. They throw the ball out in that offense. He's got a great running back too, or he's had to this point a great running back. Um, you know, Nick Mullins behind him has been a proven backup in his career. Then Jaron Hall, I'm not sure how I felt about that draft pick. That was one of my worst picks of the draft, but you never know.
Mhm.
Maybe they struck gold with him. So
No, this that rounded out my top 11 again. After
nice.
the Dak pick, that I had Cousins at 10, I had Goff at 9, and I had Dak at 11. So, yeah, I think Kirk Cousins gets a lot of flack,
I
but
think he does too.
I legit. I mean, prime time obviously just doesn't seem to work for him. But like, other than
No.
that, he just seems like he's consistent, steady, solid. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's
I mean,
good.
their
Good.
defense was their biggest problem last year. Their offense was not a problem. They were good.
Yeah, that's a good spot for him. I'm gonna go with the Browns and Deshaun Watson next. I don't
Yeah.
think I mean, we noticed towards the end of the season already he was getting better by the game, but when he first came back, yeah, he was pretty abysmal.
Yeah.
But then he finished the season solid, and I think that's going to be key for them moving into this season now, where he's going to be fully acclimated again to the Browns. Josh Dobbs actually played very well when he played for the Titans last year. He looked
Hmm.
like the Titans looked like they hit gold there for a minute.
Hmm.
And then Dorian Thompson Robinson fits. I mean, they get four African American quarterbacks with Kellen Mond at 4-2, and then they all have a very similar playing style. Dorian Thompson Robinson's probably a little bit more wide receiver, but
Yeah.
it works. That Browns QB room, bunch of athletes.
Yep. Yeah. It's I don't hate that room, and does Watson tap into where he was a top 5 QB a few years ago? I mean, before all the stuff. I don't know, but he's still uber talented. So we'll see now that he can kind of get a full year under his belt and have that whole thing figured out. We'll see where that goes. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins and Tua here, and this is with a big you know, is his head okay disclaimer. um, because I don't know if it's okay. So, um, Tua, when healthy, when not concussed, proved himself to be pretty darn good last year. He's got a ton of weapons, ridiculous amount of speed on that team. But I think he's proven himself to be a solid middle tier QB, accurate, throws a good deep ball, all that. Mike White as a backup has proven to be pretty solid as well as a backup. Skylar Thompson was their backup last year for a good chunk and played pretty terribly, if we're going to be honest, at most
What do
of
you
the time.
expect?
But
What do you expect?
as would be expected. But and then they also have James Blackman, which is interesting. So, but again, Tua healthy is a top 15 QB. Concussed Tua is on the bench. So we'll see. Well, maybe though he might play.
And
I
that,
don't
but
know.
that's also where that's right. I'm a little bit, I'm at 18, but I'm like, I'm going to try to find a good middle ground. I'm like,
Yeah,
healthy Tua at like, I put him at 14, healthy,
right,
maybe 13. And
right.
then at, bottom concussed probably 30 to 35. Right. So I try to take the middle ground. I'm like 18.
Yeah, I mean when he's hurt, when he's concussed, I mean yeah, it's game over for him. So we'll see.
Let's see, 14, pick 14. Who do I have? I have Derek Carr,
Yeah,
for the Saints
I
here
like Derek.
next. And then Jameis Winston eating his W's. Like, maybe not so much as a backup quarterback this year, and I don't anticipate the Saints are going to be spectacular by any means, especially with Kamara's suspension at the beginning of the year. But
Yeah,
yeah, Jake Hayner, that's a good pick. Like, I like him out of Fresno, right?
I like Jake Hamer a lot.
Yeah, so the Saints room is solid. I think again, Derek Carr to me is basically Kirk Cousins, just gets a lot of flack for maybe things that aren't always his fault.
Yeah,
He's actually a pretty solid quarterback. So
yep. Um. Oh man, I'm gonna go with Geno Smith here in the Seahawks,
all right.
and this is
It wasn't a fluke, was it?
I don't know, maybe it was, but I kind of have to go with some recency bias here.
I actually had him above Tua. I had him at 17 and Tua at 18. So
He's
it's not,
he had such a good year last year. Um, kind of proved himself. I mean, silenced some haters. I mean, you definitely still saw some flaws in his game, but was
but yeah,
really
he didn't even
impressed.
give Drew Lock a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought Drew Lock was going to be the guy
Drew
at
Lock
that
was just on the
point.
sidelines going,
Yeah, just rapping, doing his thing. Um, but they also still have Drew Lock, so a guy who started in the league. I wouldn't say he's proven because he's done nothing, but a guy who started in the league. And then Holton Ahlers is really interesting. Not sure about that
Carolina,
one.
East
Not sure
Carolina.
about that one. But yeah, I mean, I thought Gino was really good, really accurate. Obviously, he ripped the Lions apart early in the year, so that was not cool. But and that definitely helped his stats for the year. But that game, but yeah, I mean, he definitely moved way up our list from last year. They might have been last year.
The Seahawks room as a whole, yeah, I think they might have been 32nd. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what? I'm
way.
gonna pull it.
That's
I
the
have to
biggest
pull that up.
movers. That's the
I
biggest move.
need I need that point of reference. I'm gonna pull it up.
I think they were last, if I remember right.
Into rankings. I think this is the one. Right? Show me. Yep. Okay, this is the one. Quarterback. Seahawks 32.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was the other one that I had a question? The Jets. Jets we had at 28.
Also, they might be the biggest move then. Yeah.
Probably, yeah. That's
But
a
I
big
mean,
jump.
obviously they added a Hall of Famer. So
Texans were 30, Panthers were 31. So yeah, that'll be interesting.
nice.
All right. So my next is gonna be, where did I put them last year? Because this might be a little bit of a drop. We had him at 7 last year. As the Rams, Matthew Stafford. I still think he's good, man. Just got hurt.
I do too. I do too.
Stetson Bennett. I think that was Matt Stafford's backup at Georgia.
Mhm.
We go that far back, and then Brett Rippon. I think this is probably year 4 for him in the league, and
Boise.
probably the best name of a lot of quarterbacks in this year's draft is Dresser Wynn as
Yeah.
their 4th quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah, I had the Rams at 14, and we'll put them at 16 right here and feel good about it.
Yeah. I mean, he's still upper. I mean, I still think he can be a top 10 QB if fully healthy.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, but we'll get to the offensive line rankings when they get there. But did the Rams improve enough in that aspect?
Correct. To protect him, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I'll go with the Broncos here.
Okay, yeah, good. I'm glad I'm glad you're not out on him like some people are.
I'm not necessarily in on him either. Like I'm just kind of on the fence on
That's
him.
where this 15 to 18 range comes in. Not in,
Correct.
but not out.
Like very, very modest
Yeah.
expectations. I think it was just a bad team last year. Horrendous coaching. Horrendous coaching. And I think now that Sean Payton's in there, I think that's going to help a lot. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he has a massive year, in fact. Um, but we'll see. Russ might
Dropped
also,
12 spots from last year. We had the Broncos fifth last year.
yeah, Russ might also kind of have like an ego problem. So I don't know. Maybe turns out maybe he's not like a nice dude. Um, I mean, we'll
No
see.
one's perfect.
No, no one's perfect. But I'm
He,
telling you, he thinks he is. He thinks he is.
it's pretty
Um,
close.
Jarrett Stidham. I mean, he's been in the league as a backup for a while. Guarantano. I thought he was horrendous at Tennessee, so that's not going to work. And Ben DiNucci. Ben DiNucci.
They just picked him up like 2 days ago.
Yeah, and I like Ben DiNucci better than Guarantano.
I
So
saw a Sean Payton Ben DiNucci quote. Let me see if I can find it. I don't
DiNucci
remember.
has had some good. He's had some
Yeah,
moments when he's
yeah.
probably.
Dov Kleeman post because it happened today during practice. He was at the camps, and Sean Payton told backup quarterback Ben DiNucci, "There's a greeting job at Walmart open for you after he threw a pick six at practice." The funny thing is, the Broncos all ownership owns Walmart.
That is incredible.
Uh,
That
yeah,
is incredible.
Dov Kleeman tweeted that earlier this morning.
That
So,
is awesome.
oh man, let's see. Who do we have? This week, pick 18. Who do I have next? 16. All right. Who do I go back and forth on this one? All right, I might have to get the backup quarterback involved. Take that lead.
Yeah.
Give me Danny Dimes.
Yeah, I was gonna go with Danny Dimes there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I had one other team I was thinking. So I was like, but backup quarterback situation, I'm taking Tyrod Taylor over this other guy. So Daniel
Yeah.
Jones, Tyrod Taylor, Tommy DeVito. And Daniel Jones actually turned out to be quite the fantasy play by the end of last year.
He
Um,
he had a pretty good year, for being
yeah.
honest. Like
Yeah.
he was
He
pretty good.
definitely needed it. It was a much needed year because he was on his way out if he didn't.
Correct. Correct.
So we'll see if he
Um,
can reinvigorate that again this year. But yeah, I at 18, I think he fits.
yep. I will go with oh man.
Game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Patriots here.
Ooh, that was not, but all right.
I actually like Mac Jones.
I like Bailey
Um,
Zappi more than that Mac
I
Jones.
like Bailey Zappi.
I had the
Trace
Patriots at
McSorley.
27.
Trace McSorley. I like Mac Jones. I'm not out on Mac Jones at all.
Okay.
He had a pretty good rookie year, and you know, I think he'll actually be pretty decent. Um, so Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, Trace McSorley's been in the league for a while, and Malik Cunningham actually kind of. I mean, they took a flyer on
I
him
liked
after
him at
some.
Louisville, man. He was fun to
Yeah,
watch.
I did too. Um, so not the best room. I mean, not from top to bottom, not the best room, but four guys that I'm like, oh, okay, like you know, I wouldn't love seeing any of those guys as my quarterback. Maybe Mac Jones, depending on how he's
It's
doing.
interesting because Mac Jones and Zappi are like hardcore pocket passers, but McSorley and Malik
Uh-huh.
Cunningham are like very athletic mobile players.
Yeah, it is interesting. So we'll see where that goes, but I like Mac Jones, so I'll go with the Patriots there.
All right, my other option, the last one against Danny Dimes, was Justin Fields for the Bears.
Yep.
I think Justin Fields is actually going to be a quality quarterback with a respectable offensive line. It was not respectable. It might have been the worst thing I've ever seen last year. So,
Sure.
and they did spend a little bit of capital in draft and in free agency to try to improve in some capacity and protect their franchise quarterback. So, I think they improved from the backup perspective. PJ Walker killed it in the AAF and then got a chance into the NFL after the AAF folded. And then Nathan Peterman somehow still in the league for
I don't
six
understand
plus
it.
years.
I don't
Somehow still
understand
in the
how
league
he's
six
still in the
plus
league.
years.
I
Especially
just
because that 0 touchdown, 6 interception game that he had.
I
Not even
mean,
playing 3 quarters.
It was like half of the game. I don't understand it. That usually would get you out of the league, that one real
Mhm.
quick.
Yeah,
Um,
and then yeah, Tyson Badgett
yeah,
out of what small school? I'm trying to remember where he came out of. It was a small school. It, it was Shepherd. He played at Shepherd, but
Shepard.
yeah,
Nice.
so but
Oh yeah,
showed a
yeah. I remember. I think we talked about him a little bit when leading up to
yeah.
the draft. Remember that? Okay. I like that pick there. I'm actually gonna go with the Titans here. Ryan Tannehill. I'm not gonna die on the Ryan Tannehill hill, but a proven guy that's gotten his team to the playoffs. With Derrick on the back of Derrick Henry, obviously. But I'm doing it mostly because I like their QB room from top to bottom. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, they obviously drafted Will Levis, and then Malik Willis. Obviously, they drafted Malik Willis last year. That might signal they're out on Malik Willis because they got Will Levis. I don't know. But yeah, I like that whole room a lot. So from top to bottom, I think they could go a lot of different directions with it, but there's a lot of talent in the room at the very least.
Yeah, and a lot of potential. We don't,
Yes.
Levis has a ton of potential, right? Malik Willis had tons of potential coming out of college, and
Yep.
Tannehill, yeah, we can get Isaiah to come on and see if he's dead on that hill yet or not. But
He died on that hill. He's actually dead.
yeah,
Ran
and
over
I
by
think
a
Julio
truck.
Jones laid down next to him.
Ran over
If I
by
remember.
a truck. Shot.
Yes.
Garden planted over the top of his body already. Like it's a game over.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
So I don't they actually kind of fell right where they should. I ranked the Titans at 22nd, and here
Right.
they are at 21, so that's a good
Yeah.
spot.
I mean, it's not
Um,
like my whole thing with Ryan Tannehill was never like he's that bad, but I'm like, but he's not top 10. Like,
I
what are
also
we
saw just
doing?
decline last year. I was
Yes.
like, all right, do you go back and try wide receiver?
Yeah, he was a pretty decent wide receiver at Texas A&M. So,
Yeah. So no, that's a good spot for him. Um, who do I have here next? I believe my next open spot is the Cardinals with Kyler Murray
yeah,
and Colt McCoy, who's
yeah.
been doing it for a long time, Clayton Tune, and then the former Lions quarterbacks Jeff Driscoll and David Blau.
He's going to duke it out for
Uh,
a chance to maybe be on the practice squad.
yeah, they're a practice squad guy. One of them is. They can't both make the practice squad, so
You wouldn't think.
I'd be shocked. But I guess you always have to have people on standby if Kyler Murray starts running his mouth again. So
Right.
yeah,
Okay. I don't hate that. In fact, I mean, I don't know. Kyler Murray, if he put it all together finally, then maybe he would move his way up. I mean, the
let's talk about
talent
a
is
guy with an ego that doesn't need to have an ego right now.
correct.
Like,
Correct.
uh,
Correct.
at least Russell Wilson had like 8 good years in the league before all
True.
this.
True. Um, oh man, it's kind of bad now. I'll go
Well,
with the
those are out.
Raiders. I'll go with the Raiders.
That's my next available. Yep, that's the right
Jimmy
one.
G, Brian Hoyer's been around forever. Aiden
Forever.
O'Connell is interesting. I actually think he could carve himself out a nice career in the league. And then Chase Garbers, we'll see. Um, I actually kind of liked him, but late. But Aiden O'Connell, I think actually is going to have a chance to be a backup in the league for a while. So,
I'm
and then Jimmy G, I
pretty
mean,
sure Hoyer is the second oldest quarterback in this group.
I
Pretty
would
sure. I'm like
behind,
it's just that's off the top of my head. He's 37 right now.
behind Rodgers, right? So.
Yeah, I mean Rogers is first, but like I think after that, I know Hoyer's 37. So
Yeah, he's been. I remember when he was playing at Michigan State, and it was not that. It was a very long time ago. He was
he was
ancient.
actually in the same draft class as Matthew Stafford, but he's 2 years older.
Nice, nice.
So,
So yeah, I mean, um, veteran starter who's got his team to the Super Bowl. Kinda. It wasn't really him, but whatever. And then veteran backup, and then interesting couple of third and fourth stringers. So
yeah. I mean, and Aiden O'Connell, I still feel like has potential, but it's like I
I
don't
do
know.
too. So I'm saying I think he actually could kind of form his way into a role. Maybe not a
Mhm.
starter down the line, but a solid backup.
Maybe not like a Brock Purdy miracle, but
No, I
something.
wouldn't think so.
Yeah. All right. Pick 24 here. Who do I have? All right. So 20. Okay. All right. I'm going to take the Steelers next.
Okay.
Kenny
Yep.
Pickett. Mitch Trubisky is a good backup quarterback. And they signed Mason Rudolph today. It doesn't move the needle really. And then Tanner Morgan out of Minnesota. Um, I don't know. Kenny Pickett was like very inconsistent last year, but again, rookie. He was a rookie. So I'm going to try to have some grace. Um, if he has some more consistent performances, he's obviously still pretty athletic.
Mhm.
And he has something to offer, at least is probably ceiling middle of the rank quarterback room. Maybe around 16 is the Steelers ceiling when they have Kenny Pickett. So
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And he's people were down on him coming out of the draft too, and I was like, I think he's still gonna be pretty good, guys. Like he's got it figured out a little bit. Um, okay, I'll go with the 49ers.
they're my next. Yep.
Trey Lance, we'll see. I really don't know what to think of Trey Lance. The potential is still there, obviously, even though he got hurt. Sam Darnold, he's been around. I don't think he's very good, but then Brock Purdy, obviously, he did what he did last year. We'll see what they want to do with him. And then Brandon Allen has also been around for quite a while, so it's a there's some veterans, there's some guys with good amount of experience, and then obviously the potential of Trey Lance is there. And then Brock Purdy's kind of a steady hand that kind of guided them through the playoff push last year. So it's a pretty deep room, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. That was my next one. So next, I am gonna take the Packers
Yeah.
with Jordan Love.
Yeah.
And that's again, we've at least seen Jordan Love play a little bit, so it's hard for me to still take the Packers, but I think he's towards the bottom of quarterbacks that aren't rookies. Um, in this rankings.
He's towards the
Um,
bottom of quarterbacks that actually are going to start.
yeah, I mean, well, here they are at
Obviously,
26th.
like I mean, he's just I'm not that I don't think he's that great. So he better not be. I'm gonna be angry.
It'll be disappointing. Again, I'll be okay if he like ends up being like 16 to back as a quarterback. Like if he's average,
Yes,
but he has to be like a very, very mid average. I
yes.
just
I can't have a
I'd be
guy just
if they get
absolutely
another
picking us
Pro Bowl
apart
quarterback.
again. I
If they get
can't do
another
that.
perennial Pro Bowler, I'll cry.
I
I
can't do
don't.
that. I
Um,
can't do that again.
their backup situation isn't good. I would say Sean Clifford is and Danny Etling are guys to be excited as your backup quarterbacks. I think that's a very big concern if Jordan Love
Correct.
goes down.
Correct.
So
I agree. Not a great overall room. Um, yeah, I'm not so sure about the Packers as a whole this year, but we'll see.
mhm.
Um, oh man, what number is it?
This will be 27.
I'll go with the Bucks.
Okay.
Baker
Yeah,
Mayfield,
I'm at
obviously Baker
28. So
Mayfield.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean at least Mayfield has experience and he's won some games. I'm still I'm not a Baker Mayfield guy at all, but he's won some games. Kyle Trask has been around a while, and then John Wolford played a lot of meaningful snaps actually with the Rams. For some reason, Sean McVay really liked him, but I'm not so sure about him. But he's been in the league for a while, so uh, yeah, we'll go with the Bucks there. What a downgrade! They might have moved some of them all the furthest too.
Yeah, I mean that's I guess yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that they had Tom Brady last year. Let me
Yeah,
see. Um, yeah, we had them at second.
yeah. I mean, that's because
That's the
Brady
biggest
was
drop.
so good the year before too. He was incredible the year before that.
Well, the Packers are down too. We had the Packers at 3. So
Hmm. Well, two of the arguably the best QBs ever
teams, yes. Or
changed
left,
teams
or just
or
changed the NFL.
retired.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct.
Finally
So
retired, so to speak.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, I feel like now's an appropriate time to take Bryce Young and the Panthers
yeah,
because their
yeah,
backup room is so good. Like Andy Dalton was a good backup quarterback. You have an insurance policy. You can even start Andy Dalton. They won't because first overall pick. But
right.
Andy Dalton's good to have there. Matt Corral was on. They were a lot of people felt they got a steal when Matt Corral when they drafted him. And then
Yeah.
Jacob Eason is going into his third or fourth year too. So decent quarterback room, and it could be quite a bit better than this. The hard thing with ranking rookies is we have to almost by default put them towards the bottom.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just, I mean, you don't have any sure things. I mean, even I remember when I think we did this when Lawrence was a rookie, and I don't know how really high we even had him, and he's the surest thing we could think of since Andrew Luck.
The
So,
Jaguars up at 24 last year, but that was also going into his second year after an abysmal rookie year.
right, I think he might have been a little higher even the year before, if I'm being honest. Would have been like
I can
20.
check. I bet I have those saved somewhere.
But it's just hard to rank rookies. It's really hard to rank rookies, even ones that are going to start, or even ones that like I do feel good about Bryce Young, and I think next year we're going to sit there, and he's going to be higher. But yeah, you don't know. I mean, you really just don't know. All right. Oh, I don't know. I guess I will go with what number is this?
29.
I'll go with the I'll go with the I'm gonna go with the Colts.
Okay.
All
Wow.
right. I'm gonna go with a little potential here.
All right.
Anthony Richardson, obviously the potential, I guess, is there. But I actually am a Gardner Minshew fan, so that's kind of where I'm going with this. I think I like Minshew a lot, not just because of his beard and mustache and hair, but he's kind of a weirdo, so I like him. And Sam Ellinger has also kind of been around for a while, so um, for a few years, and is talented. So I think it's an overall pretty talented room. We'll see what Anthony Richardson brings, but I'm very interested to see what he looks like. So I'll put him at 29. I don't really the bottom 4 or 5. I think could kind of be reordered in any which way probably, but I'll go with the Colts there.
I did have him at 32, but I don't know. I
I
guess
mean,
with
dude, the Commanders are terrible.
I have the Commanders at 31, but yeah,
Okay. I mean,
it's
Jacoby Brissett, I guess, is the saving grace in that room, in my opinion, because I actually like Jacoby Brissett a lot, just because he's actually played really well at times.
I
Um,
think he's better than Sam Howell for sure,
oh
but
yeah, I mean, but come on,
they're gonna
like
see what they had with Howell first. Brissett's there
Howell's
just
not going to be good. He's not going to be good.
but I think he's on a short leash just because he also wasn't a first round quarterback or anything like that.
True.
So
That's true.
um but yeah, next here at 30, I'll take the Texans.
Yeah,
Um yeah, CJ Stroud could be pretty good. He's also a guy that could be boom or bust. Obviously they have Davis Mills, who's got a ton of starting experience as backup, and then Case Keenum been in the league for a long time, very experienced
yep,
veteran, starter, backup, whatever you need him to be. So I like him there.
yeah. I mean, I like their room actually. I mean, all of those guys could start. If you're thinking about it, I mean, they won't. They're going to start Stroud, obviously, but all of them
Yeah, I
could
figure
start.
only one quarterback usually starts. So
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like all of them, like
yeah.
I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised
they could
depending
all
on what
jump in.
happens with both injuries and just like performance. I would not be surprised if any one of those guys got a start or two this year.
I don't once you play your rookie quarterback though, especially a guy that you draft third overall
You've got to just stick with
or second overall, right? I
second
mean,
overall. Yeah, you'd
yeah,
probably just have to stick with them. You would think, but
yeah, write it out.
we'll see. Um,
31. So yeah, I
30.
have an idea on who you're taking.
Yeah. Wait, who's even the other team
It's the
available?
Falcons.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the Falcons. Yeah, I mean, okay, I don't like the Falcons either. Um, Desmond Ritter, Tyler Heineke, and Logan Woodside, but I am a Taylor Heineke guy. Always have
Taylor
been.
Heinicke. I mean, he's the number one quarterback on that list, that ranking
Right. I
list.
mean, clearly he's the best. So, and Logan Woodside, I don't know, but I think Heineke actually might end up being the starter by the end of the year. Ritter, I'm not sold on Ritter at all. So, um, but yeah, I mean, we're gonna put him at 31. They're not very good. So,
That's a fair move. Which does leave me with Sam Howell and the Commanders. recently bought Commanders, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then their best quarterback is Jacoby Brissett. So
Yeah.
I think we just mentioned it. Obviously, Sam Howell's probably on a short leash, just being, not a first round pick.
Correct.
I think he has a couple rough first 4 games, and they might just jump in on Brissett. I think he's going to have like a 3 to 5 game window where you're like, okay, perform.
If he's decent, they'll ride him. But if not,
Yeah, but if he's atrocious, you get
if
like
he's
3
losing
games
them
tops.
ball games, like they're gonna move on. So,
Mhm. And then another
I agree.
Georgia quarterback, Jake Fromm, and then Tim DeMorat, who I'd probably rank last place out of all these quarterbacks. I mentioned
yeah, probably.
maybe Nolan Henderson for the Ravens as their 4th quarterback, but I talked about Nathan Rourke with the Jaguars. I think Tim DeMorat probably is towards the bottom. So
Yeah, Chris Oladokun.
Oladokun probably not. I have him above like Nathan Rourke and DeMorat, but
Yeah,
that's because he was at least drafted, right? He was
true.
drafted
True.
last year by the Steelers, right?
True. They did. The Steelers did use a draft pick on him, so it's fair.
Yeah. So
Jaren Hall is down there too.
another one I considered was James Blackman. Who else? Logan Woodside, I wouldn't have him lower, except he's somehow been in the league, whether it's practice squad or not, for
Yeah,
like the last 4 or 5 years.
I'd say for
So,
like at least like 4 years, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah.
I don't
Other
know.
than that, Chase Garber's not ideal. Tommy DeVito, is he really going to be that special?
Yeah.
And then Holt Nailers, I don't know. I don't know. Those are the other guys I would put towards the bottom, but yeah. If you guys have any interest in doing your own rankings, there's an easy way to do it. I want to give a shout out here to Kirk Bladen. He has a quiz where you could just click one or the other, and by then the progress will build on this line here, and it will give you a spelled out ranking like this. As you can see, Taylor Heineke and Sam Howell are the best quarterbacks in the league, and Bryce Young is an absolute bust. So
Easily, Trevor Lawrence, horrible.
Easy way to do yours, though, if you have time to do a good quiz.
Yeah.
Next week, I think I'm gonna, depending on how the trades or cuts shake out, we will probably do head coaches. Just to buy us a little bit of time, because I think there will be some key position players that get traded. Dalvin Cook, namely, has been really hot in the news lately. So
yeah, I think that's the next probably big one. So for sure.
So yeah, we'll stall as long as we can to find out Dalvin Cook's new team, because that's a big one that does kind of change the outcome of a running back room. So
For sure.
all right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week.
See ya.